Aaron Judge is on the IL, and the Yankees season is over. Nothing else matters. Cue the music. Welcome to Yank Your Mets, the podcast that covers all things Yankees and Mets. I am your defeated, deflated, disheartened host, Phil Wolf, joined as always by Chad, Mr. Met Voss. And Chad, it's good to see you. Things seem a lot sunnier in Metland, and that's saying something considering how the Mets started their season.
It is. I don't know about it. It's more like partly cloudy versus your rain and thunderstorms. So,
yeah. Well, let's just get right into it. We're going to start the show off with a new segment. Chad. This is the premiere
fans have been
of
clamoring.
The fans have asked. We've delivered. This is highs and lows. We're going to go over the highs and lows of the previous week, one high, one low each. I'm going to start with, I think, what's probably the most obvious, which is the Yankees have lost Aaron Judge. He's out. We don't know how long he's going to be out. He's going to be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks. That puts us in the early to mid-July window. He suffered a stress fracture in his rib, which he sustained in April 26th. Trying to avoid who else but Jazz Chisholm. At this point, I'm convinced that Jazz Chisholm is just the reason for all our ailments. But anyway, he dove to get out of the way of a ball that was kind of hitting to no man's land. Jazz was trying to make an athletic play. Jazz was converging on the ball. They were both converging on the ball, and he dove and sustained the injury. Now, at the time, there wasn't really much done about it. I don't think he really felt it. He probably was a little sore. But he continued to have a pretty good season after that. But yeah, we can get into that later. But so the low is that Judge is out, likely I think until mid-August, maybe September. I mean, if you think about how these teams do things, like,
well, if he's Francisco Alvarez, he'll be back next week.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man, I would take Francisco Alvarez right about now, because we need a catcher, but more on that later. For my high, I'm going with Spencer Jones, getting the call up, second stint in the majors. Mm-hmm. He's a guy who a lot of people hailed as Judge 2.0, Judge from the left side. He's another, towering 6'7" athletic outfielder with a ton of power, a ton of speed, and he came back. He got his second call up for this season. He was up previously for about 7 games, couldn't hit a lick. He's back now, and yesterday he went 3 for 3 with a double and an RBI. And so maybe this is him turning it around. Maybe sometimes it takes just a taste of the big leagues to understand the intensity and focus, which is something that Spencer Jones alluded to in his post-game press conference or pre-game press conference when asked what he learned about his first stint in the majors. He said, yeah, it takes a lot of intensity and focus, and maybe now he's got that. So excited to see.
He focused for one game at least.
He focused for one game, yeah. I mean, he could go over the century for the rest of his career and never see the light of day. Anyway, I'm excited that Spencer is up and getting another opportunity to play because Lord knows we need all the power and help we can get.
Yeah, what do you got? I mean, what?
Oh, no! Please talk about how much you're excited about Spencer Jones.
No, I like it. It's hope always springs eternal in the rookie. So you never know. And watch this guy come up and be Judge 2.0 and do all the things. And then you get Judge back. Like those GMs that I can't stand say, oh, we're just adding an Aaron Judge at the trading deadline.
Oh, God, get out of here. I know.
Yeah.
Insane. All right. Who do you have? Highs and lows. What do you got for the Mets?
High's got to be Christian Scott. He's throwing like a beast. Another shutout performance yesterday, which is, I think that was his first. But yes, another one.
It felt like another one.
It felt like another one because he's just been brilliant. But yeah, so that was nice to see. The guy's finally healthy and coming back and looks like he's all cylinders go, or whatever the term is you're supposed to use. All things are going Christian Scott's way. So yeah, the walks are still a thing, but he's looking good, looking sharp. It's my high.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's been a bright spot, and I think if anyway, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not the Mets guy. You go for it. What's your high?
That was my high.
Oh, that was your high. Sorry. What's your low?
High? My low. I don't know. I mean, I was looking at it. I was like, where do I begin? I don't. Just I guess if you're in the context of the week, I mean, we just Jonah Tong, like we need another pitcher to just step up so we can stop with like a bullpen game every other day. Um, is it Jonah Tong? I guess would be the low because he comes up and he walks people, and I know they changed his arm angle. I guess he's trying to get used to that. But he looked sharp to start, and then he was walking people though. He's walking people the whole time, walking tight ropes as well, getting out of jams constantly. But then it finally all caught up to him. Had a couple big innings against, and the Mets really need a starting pitcher to just step up and be like, "I got this." Like, hold my beer, and it just doesn't happen. And who knows? Who would have thought that the Clay Holmes injury would be heading into this season? We're like, oh, if Clay Holmes gets hurt, like the rotation is really going to take a hit. But that's where this season is. I mean, the starting pitching has just been meh.
All right, how worried are you, speaking of starting pitching, about Nolan McLean? He's got like a 9 ERA in his last 3 starts. He's the guy that we thought would be, your ace. This is baseball. It's a hard game.
No. I to be clear, I have always been like, let's just pump the brakes on this kid because he's thrown literally 8 games, and he's going to go through this. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not worried. That said, I'm not sitting here saying I told you so. But he's the kid hasn't even thrown 20 games in the majors. Like, give him a second. Like, let him figure things out. He's going through a tough spot. He'll figure it out. In theory, he's got nasty stuff. And, what I don't want to have happen is like, oh, you know what? Oh, my elbow's been bothering me.
Oh, gosh.
Because that often happens and follows a lot of, especially the Mets young pitchers, when all of a sudden they come out blazing. And then all of a sudden they're like, ow, and then they're on the shelf. Zach Wheeler was out for, I think, 2 years. And then, of course, the Dark Knight, Noah Syndergaard, like go through all those guys. Luckily, what's his name? DeGrom went through all that in the minors. And then, of course, later in his career with the injuries. But I'm not too worried about Nolan McLean. I think he's going to figure it out as long as he's not hurt.
Yeah.
So, it's law of averages. You're not just going to come up and have like a sub 2 ERA for your career.
This is true. Very few people do that. And he's got an opportunity to make it right and sort of right the ship here against the Padres. I think he goes against the Padres today. And former Met Griffin Canning on the mound for the Padres. And the Padres have been scuffling. So, I mean, if there's a chance to get right, I mean, now's that time. I mean, they shut out the Padres yesterday 5-0. Yeah. So, and they started out the season really well. So I agree. I think, McLean is going to be a mainstay in the rotation, and I think he's going to right the ship, and I think he'll be fine. Everyone goes through these stretches. Even Paul Skeens has hit a few speed bumps this year, and everyone thought he was,
he ran into that Mets juggernaut offense on opening day. Hasn't been the same since.
Hasn't been the same since.
Although I think he was like absolutely filthy in his next like 5 starts. So whatever.
You brought up another pitcher, and this just reminded me. We were texting earlier about this. Jacob deGrom won his 100th game.
Yep.
And, I guess the question is, everybody wants to ask, is he a Hall of Famer? Look at the numbers. And I texted you and I asked you what you thought. And you were kind of on the fence. Is Jacob deGrom, I mean, if you had to choose right now, and he, 100 wins is not a lot, but when you consider that he never got the run support with the Mets, and and wins nowadays is not the stat that you sort of look at and hang your hat on, right? And no one's breaking any wins records, but you look at innings pitched and you look at strikeouts and certainly ERA, strikeouts to walks. To me, I think if he continues to perform at the level he's playing this year, and he's been good, he's been really good. He might be in the Hall of Fame, but I don't think it's a shoo-in.
No, yeah. I mean, let's put it this way. He's in my Hall of Fame, so that's all that matters. But is Cooperstown going to bend the rules that much? 300 was the given, and now, they're probably going to lower the bar to 200 maybe in the once they modernize, but 100, yikes. Like, that is a big stretch for them.
Even though the game has changed so much, I mean, is it fair to judge him off the same way we judge the players from, previous ages where it's like, yeah, 300 wins, man, you got to get 300 to be considered, or you got to get 3,000 strikeouts or whatever the case may be, right? I don't know if baseball is going to change the way that they measure greatness in the game, I think that the Hall also has to then sort of change the way they evaluate who makes it into the Hall.
I think once the evaluators themselves change, i.e. die off, like all those old school guys that are 300 or bust, like there's still enough of them voting now.
Yeah.
I think DeGrom will eventually get in, like decades from now. He'll be he'll be
dead by the time he'll
be dead. Yeah, he'll be dead by the time. No, but like I think he gets one of those sort of like 10, 20 years from like after his, I don't think he gets voted in. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I just don't see it unless he's like one of those last ballot things.
Yeah. And maybe this matters more to the fans than it does the players in some respects. I don't know. I don't think players play baseball with the goal of making it into the Hall. They want to play and they want to be great and they want to, make a lot of money. Some of them, right? And many of them do. Some of them do. But it's also this thing where it's like, it's kind of like you said, it's subjective. Like the people who are voting these guys in, think old school. And at the end of the day, does it really matter? Jacob deGrom was one of the most dominant pitchers for 3 to 4 years, like you said, right? And like you're never going to take that away. Like for a decent stretch in Major League Baseball, Jacob deGrom was the best pitcher in the league, hands down.
He was the one pitcher, even like in that 15, 16, 14 era when they had the Dark Knight, they had Syndergaard, they had. Well, I guess Wheeler, but he was mostly on the shelf then. He was the one pitcher that, like, in a big game, I was like, this kid's got it. Like, put him out. He was the guy I wanted to see on the mound when the Mets needed a win. I mean, and that's flipping back, 10 years, 11 years ago now at this point. And he would, like, so, I mean, he's been like, even like those first few years, he was really good. He wasn't the most dominant pitcher, but those first couple seasons up, he was still really solid.
Yeah.
Are you clickety clacking his stats there?
Well, there was a comparison that I thought of, and I never saw Sandy Koufax play, but, Sandy Koufax is one of these guys, like he's, Hall of Famer, one of the all-time greats. And was certainly just had incredible seasons. And I'm just looking at his numbers for the first time, but I always remember hearing that his stretch of dominance was also kind of short. When I look at his ERA, in 60 and 61, 3.91, 3.52 respectively, in 62 to 66, 2.54, 1.88, 1.74, 2.04, 1.73. That's a 5-year dominance span. But before that, he was good. He was really good, but like it wasn't like he didn't do it for that long. And so I kind of compare him to Sandy Koufax. It's like, well, if Jacob deGrom can put 2 or 3 more good years like this together, I think he can make it in. His WAR went from, he was 2.2 in 59, 1.5 in 60. Then it jumps to 5.7, 4.4, 10.7 in 63. I mean, good Lord, 7.3, 8.1, 10.3. Dominance. No doubt about it. But like especially at the tail end of his career, which is, also impressive. Yeah. And I mean, look, these numbers that Koufax was putting up are dominant. I'm just going to look at deGrom's stats real quick. Let's see. You probably have them pulled up.
I have them. I do now. God, look at, 170, 243, 238, 1.08.
Yeah.
Man, that was the year he went down. He was just, he was throwing 102, 103, and you're just like, how can this happen? Like, he's going to get hurt. Like, you can't, as a starting pitcher, just keep doing this.
Right.
And then he didn't.
Yeah, certainly his numbers, he's got the 9.4, 7.2 WAR in 18 and 19, dominant stretch, but, I think he needs a few more years. We'll see. Again, one of the more dominant players of our era. And so
I hope he gets
in.
Young, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in the top
Yeah.
10.
The top 10.
I mean,
We'll see. And again,
yeah.
does it really matter? But maybe it does. Maybe it does
Yeah.
to DeGrom. I don't know.
I thought you were going to go originally when you said we were texting back and forth. I thought you were going to bring up the my desire for one of the Mariners pitchers.
Yeah. Well, you can speak to that. I thought it was brilliant. I don't think they're going to let him go. But if you brought Wu to the Mets and you had Wu Tong at the top of that rotation, I LOL'd to that.
Oh yeah. No, I was just sitting there and I was like, huh. With Jonah Tong in Seattle and they're talking about Wu, and I was like, yeah, like that should be a thing.
The Mets marketing team would have a field day. That would be so
God.
much fun. That'd be great. He's a Yankee killer and he's a great pitcher. The Mariners, I mean, there's no way they're going to let him go.
Hey, the Mariners got to deal with some of that starting pitching, right? They want offense. More offense.
We'll see. They're at the top of their division now.
So they can be Wu-Tang.
I want to get back to Aaron Judge for a minute and just talk about how, I think.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I do. I think Yankees fans, when they heard the news, just let out a collective fuck because, he is this team. And when you lose a player like that, or when any team loses their best player, it changes the whole makeup of the lineup. Yes, he's just one of 9, but specifically with Aaron Judge, what we've seen is that this team, no matter who else is on it, just falls apart. And the Yankees had an opportunity last night to sort of set the tone, beat up on their rival, a bad Red Sox team, after getting the news that Aaron Judge is going to be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks. They have a chance to go out there and really beat up on the Red Sox. Ben Rice leads off the game with a home run. He's our MVP, maybe the league MVP. We'll see if he can keep it up. But after that, we just fall flat. And, it changes the whole makeup of the lineup. And Spencer Jones went 3 for 3, and that's great. And I hope he continues that. But pitchers just there's a level of comfort when you don't have to face a guy like Aaron Judge. Like, pitchers game plan around people like him. Pitchers game plan around guys like Soto and Ohtani. And without Aaron Judge in the middle of this order, or at the top of this order, the rest of this team is going to have to pick it up. And I heard a radio host the other day said, well, this is going to put a lot of extra pressure on Jazz Chisholm. And I thought to myself, Jazz Chisholm? What? No. Jazz Chisholm has put the pressure on himself when he thought he was going to hit 50-50, right? Like, that's self-inflicted. No.
Yeah.
He's not even going to hit 30-30. I mean, if we're being realistic.
2020?
I don't think he'll finish the season with the Yankees, especially since he's the reason Judge got hurt. Anyway, the people that have the most pressure as a result of this injury are Ben Rice and Paul Goldschmidt, and certainly the veteran leadership of this team. Ben Rice has played this entire season with Judge protecting him, right? The 2-3 or vice versa. Let's see if Ben Rice can continue to perform at this level without Judge in the lineup. That's what Judge brings to a team. And, if history is any indication, this team is going to fall flat. Now, if we didn't have the starting rotation that we did, I would certainly say the season is over, because we have a great rotation, and Cole got roughed up on his last outing, Schlittler got roughed up on his last outing, but I think they stabilize, and I think they're going to keep us in games. The question is going to be, can we score runs? And that's going to be incumbent on Ben Rice and Paul Goldschmidt and everyone up and down the order. But I mean, the other big offender is Austin Wells, and he has been dreadful. And the Yankees now, I think more than ever, if we're going to try to contend, and that's what we want to do every year, we're going to have to go out and get a catcher. And we're looking at Adley Rutschman, and we're looking at Ryan Jeffers for the Twins, because Austin Wells has been a single A player. I mean, and it's just been dreadful. And it's not even, and this is a guy who's, everyone thought his bat was going to be major league ready, and we'd work on his defense a little bit. No, he's hitting 160, 170 with an OPS in the high fives. I mean, he has been dreadful. So I don't know if he's going to be on the team to end the year. I think JC Escar more likely is the guy that, gets sent down or gets moved when they bring in another catcher. But Austin Wells has got to pick it up. Jazz has got to pick it up. Ben Rice has to keep it going. 1 through 9, everyone just has to perform. And, we tend not to do that when Judge isn't in the lineup. So.
See, but I think this is the Yankees team that's built on pitching. Like, yes, you have Aaron Judge. Yes, you have Ben Rice. Pitching gets you through this. It's not like, I know, yeah, you need to score runs, but your starting pitching is so deep and just good where you're going to get performances from Schlittler, from Cole. You'll be fine. Like, and the way the way the lineup is, it's not like, I mean, it's not from Austin Wells. It's not like you have major gaps other than Austin Wells. Like, your lineup is just, deep isn't the right word, but it's there's a lot of guys that, you didn't mention Bellinger, like, he can step up. Like, there's a lot of different players that they don't all, like, not one guy has to come up and be Aaron Judge. That's impossible. Ben Rice, there's probably, the more pressure on him without Judge protecting him in the lineup. But that then, to me, puts more pressure on Bellinger to kind of fill that role, or however they go about constructing the lineup. But you guys have pieces there. You have a deep lineup to get enough runs in. And maybe you're not as dependent on the long ball, but that's okay. And then if you can learn how to play that game, if your team has to learn this over the next 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, that's good for the playoffs, because that means you're getting those runs that you may not otherwise get in the playoffs, where you're just waiting for those home runs. And now you're having to find other ways to score. Maybe that changes Boone's game plan, where, sacrifice bunt. Oh my God. Or, like those kinds of things where you play a little bit smaller and you play to the players that you do have, and not expect Ben Rice to wind up the season with 53 home runs, because that's what has to happen.
Right.
I think your lineup's deep enough to be able to support this kind of a pitching staff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree that we have the pieces. I think it's just a matter of those people produced when Judge was healthy. And again, when you take him out of the lineup, it just changes. And maybe this team responds differently. We didn't do it yesterday, and I thought, and maybe we beat Boston the next 2 and we right the ship and all of that. But we have gone through stretches with Judge in this lineup where it's been hard to score. We lost 2 out of 3 to the Guardians, and I mean, they're a good team, but like the game we won was 2-1. Like, we just don't. It's like everyone's just like, fuck, we lost Judge. And I spoke to this last week about how this is sort of the beginning of the end of, the beginning of the last chapter of Judge's career. Even at 34, he could still perform at a high level if healthy. But like this, I think this does start to change the makeup of how Aaron Boone deploys his team and like some of the pieces they put in place. Giancarlo Stanton had a setback. He can certainly not. He's
really,
not
I find that surprising with him.
Well, people say like maybe he's in the outfield mix. No, he's not. Like maybe he'll play a game or two, but he can't do that regularly. No. It's going to be Dominguez and Spencer Jones when they're both up, when Dominguez comes back. But Judge, you might start to see him take, more games at the DH spot, which means what do you do with Giancarlo Stanton? You can't put Ben Rice at the catcher position and expect him to produce at the level he's producing, because he is a catcher, and he's kind of a catcher first base DH. I don't want him to catch. I want him to learn first base, because we can't have Paul Goldschmidt for an extended period. He's on like 1-year deals every year. So Ben Rice is your first baseman. Maybe, I don't know, but like it's the makeup of the team is going to start to change very quickly, I think, because they're not going to want Judge in the outfield making dives, running into walls. So he's going to have to be the DH, and then the dominoes, I think, start to fall where it's like, all right, we got to start moving some pieces and like really start to think about keeping Judge healthy. And the best way to do that is in the DH spot. People think he's going to be a first baseman. He's not. He will not be the first baseman, the long-term first baseman solution. He won't. He'll be the DH. We're going to cut Giancarlo loose when his contract is up. And this team's going to start looking a lot different. But I mean, if it keeps Aaron Judge in the field, like that's what you got to do.
Man, what a difference a week makes.
Yeah. All right, well, that's going to be all for us. Make sure to subscribe, follow us on Instagram, YouTube at Yank Your Mets Pod. Give us all the likes and comments. Tell us how you feel about all things Yankees and Mets. Until next week, Chad, this has been a real pleasure.
It's a very big pleasure.